Welcome back to Faye's Place, a podcast where dreamers have the liberty to dream. I'm your host, Phaedra, and I am so excited that we have this time to dream together. Today's guest works at the intersection of storytelling and strategy. From indie passion projects to major studio blockbusters, she's helped craft campaigns that don't just promote films, she positions them. With understanding of audience psychology to talent branding and the delicate balance between revealing just enough but not too much. She's a powerhouse in film marketing as the CEO of D3 Entertainment Group along with her twin brothers Clyde and Kendall Duffie. Their box office and TV hits include War Room, The Color Purple, King Richard, the Clark Sisters movie Just Mercy, and the newly released Relationship Goals with Kelly Rowland and Cliff Method Man Smith, just to name a few. I am so excited to be talking to Michelle Duffie. Thank you for stopping by Faye's Place. How are you?
Gosh, it is my pleasure. I'm doing so well, and that introduction makes me sound like something. Oh my God. Thank you so much for listen, me and Faye have been trying to get this interview done for 3 or 4 months, and I'm so glad that we have arrived here today. I consider today to be on time and in divine timing, and I am sure by the time this interview is concluded, we will understand why it had to happen today. I just believe God for that.
I agree. So take us back to 5-year-old Michelle growing up in Illinois. What did she dream of becoming?
Oh my goodness. So growing up as a 5-year-old in Illinois, first of all, we were extremely poor and homeless, my brothers and I. You've heard me share the story that we grew up. It is so many moments of our life in the back seat of a car. My mom's old station wagon, a Chrysler. I don't even know what it was called. It was a Chrysler something. It had that wood paneling on the side, and it was, musty, dusty, rusty. But one of the things that we had when I was 5 is a sense of faith. My mom was a strong believer. She took us to church all the time. She quoted scriptures all the time. She believed in the power of prayer. And she believed in the power of imagination. So as we were in the back seat of a car, we were taught not to look at our surroundings, but to focus forward. So we're little kids, and I remember telling my brothers often this story about a castle on a lake. So while we sat in the middle of, again, this musty, dusty car with, you could smell the gas fumes if it was cold and the car had to be running. Um, didn't have much of anything, but we had imagination. And so I would tell them stories that would put us to sleep at night about this castle on the lake. And, we had all of this food, and our friends were around, and our family was around. And oh, can you imagine how great it's going to be? So I'm a 5-year-old talking these stories of grandeur. I had never seen it, but I knew how to talk about things that were big. So I didn't know what I wanted to be. I just knew that the lack that I was sitting in was not for me, didn't fit me. Um, and that dream, I didn't know that I was speaking prophetically into my future. I was 5. I didn't know that I was forecasting what God had. Lord, I'm about to get happy, but I didn't know that I was speaking um, into my future. I had no idea. And sadness and wallowing in our situation was not an option for us. My mom would be sitting in the car saying, you know, um, all things are working together for good. Um, Count it all joy when you fall into situations. My goodness. Whatever things are good and lovely and praiseworthy, think on these things. See, that was my mom. And so with that, we're sitting in the middle of a mess, but our message was that of abundance, praise, hope, joy. And so my life, the foundation of my life is rooted in my best case scenario theory, in the what's the best that can happen, because that's what my mom poured into us. And so often people say, well, you are discounting reality if you are always thinking about best case scenario. No, it's not discounting reality. It is choosing to shift the narrative and the messaging of my life to focus on the things that I know will elevate my space. And so, as trials of life come, as backseat of the car homeless moments come, I am able to shift and to transcend out of this heavy moment into something that is light and abundant. And what happens is, as my thoughts shift, my life starts to follow where my thoughts are. I find that when I'm sitting in something where I'm wallowing, it feels like the whole world starts crashing down on me. I know that I have diverted from your question, Faye, but let me just tell you this. Michelle Duffie is a talker. She's a believer, she's a faith walker. I didn't know what I was going to be at 5 years old. I just knew that that small, cramped car could not contain what it is that I was supposed to walk into. And even now, the space that I sit in is too small to contain what it is that God has for me tomorrow and the next day. And so, optimistic, hopeful, looking forward, so excited about participating in God's plan for every single step that I take. All right, listen, TED Talk over, because I know you have questions. I just love this amazing space and this amazing life that God has put in front of me. Is it challenge less? Absolutely not. But I welcome every single thing, because either I am learning, or I'm growing, or I'm winning, and that's point blank, period.
And I love that you brought that out because I have my own little theory about our, being a child and dreaming. I think oftentimes we know exactly what we're supposed to do as a child, but as you get older, society tries to redirect you. So I think that's lovely how you created these stories and now you're walking into your calling and your career as being a storyteller and making something great, because they just give you like, okay, this is the plot, but now you have to take that plot and you have to share that with people who don't even care about whatever's going on. That's your
Yeah.
purpose. And so I
Yes.
love that.
Yeah. That's amazing for you to say it that way, and that's exactly what it is. God gave me stories, and now stories are my life, and the ability to market stories and put them in front of amazing people to shift their moment. Like, I love to make people laugh when they are sitting in a season of depression, and all of a sudden you find them giggling because Tyler Perry said something funny,
Right.
or they're having a hardship and they see a person navigate a situation on screen and they realize, hey, I can do it too. And most of this is fiction, but it's something about the messaging in the story that pushes us from where we're sitting to, I don't believe in love. We watch a romantic comedy like Ruth and Boaz or Relationship Goals, and we say to ourselves, you know what? That felt good what I saw on screen. Let me try love again.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I love to be a part of storytelling and marketing that story for people to see it. So we can make all the stories in the world, but if we don't market it and people don't see it, then that,
Agreed. And,
yes,
as believers, we know that Jesus used stories, he used parables. And then our
love
message
it.
as believers is to tell the same story that Jesus died, he resurrected, and he's coming back
Yes,
again. And so that's just what we're called to do.
100%. Yeah. I
That's
love that.
great.
I
You're
love that God has given this space to me, and I am a great steward over it. I can be nothing but a great steward. So
I love it. I love it. Now, your brothers and yourself took a risk and drove to a conference in Nashville that put you on a trajectory for your awesome career. Can you tell us what inspired you to take that risk?
yes, anything worth having is worth the risk. I was actually talking to my niece daughter this morning on Facebook, and I wrote her a message that you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. That's Michael Jordan's quote. But so for me, risk taking is life. I know that if I don't cast my net, shoot my shot, what in the world would I have? I would have stagnancy and just the status quo. So what led us to take the risk is, I'm going to go back to our beginning. We were homeless at 5 years old, moved from pillar to post. We probably lived in 20 different places between the age of, you know, 5 years old to 12 or 13 years old. No stability. What that built in us was a fearlessness and the ability to take risks without blinking an eye. Thank the Lord that He chose me for that homeless space. So when the opportunity came, when we were 21 years old, to move to Nashville, we didn't question it. You know why? We had never been planted anywhere. Um, so I
Mm-hmm.
talk to people now who, I've lived in this place all my life. I don't know. I've never traveled. That has never come out of my mouth. So what helped me take a risk? Oh my God, thank you, Jesus, was that He allowed us to be in a space of transition all the time. So transition for me is quick and easy. You need me to go where? And you need me to do what? You need me to move where? So the blessing for me, risk taking started for me in homelessness. I don't wish homelessness on anyone in their space, but it probably took that for me because I love things to be a certain way. I love stability. All these are all the things that I crave and desire. God probably knew that if I had been structured and in a stable place, I would not have moved to Nashville. Has become such an amazing destination for me to flourish in my career, in relationships, in friendships. So, yes, risk taking was initiated in me at 5 years old with no stability.
I
Who
love.
knew that would be something to thank God for? But
I
all
know, right?
things work together for good and to
All
put you to
things.
purpose. Come on. Yes.
Yes, yes. And on that same theme of taking risk, you and your brother started off in gospel music and then you ventured into film. What inspired that change?
Okay, so we all worked in the record business. I was working with CC Winans at Pure Springs. I was working at Light Records. I was starting record labels for many different people. My brother Clyde was at Verity Records for almost 20 years as the VP of promotions. So working with everybody from Kirk to you name it, Mary, all our friends and cousins in the business. My brother Kendall was at Light Records. He kind of resurrected the catalog with the Winans and commissioned and all of that. So music was our passion. We grew up singing. Um, Probably in 2005, um, God was speaking to me about movies. How does God speak to somebody about movies? It was, I started feeling uncomfortable in the space I was sitting in. I was making a great salary. Everything is going great, but there was an unrest on the inside, which I love that God does this. Things can be going so well, and God will start bringing frustrations in the middle of what seems to be peaceful. And it's not for the sake of frustration. It's the sake of getting you to move to what's next, right? It is the contractions that are pushing you towards labor. That's what it is. So I started having contractions. Thank you, Lord, for that. I started having contractions that were pushing me to push. And so I started researching film. See, this probably goes back to when I was 5 years old that I was writing stories in my head. But I started researching film. Why film? I don't know, Faye. It was the Holy Spirit. I just started researching. I think I want to tell stories again. So that was something innate in me that knew stories were a part of my life. Um, and so I went and took a Hollywood 101 class just to understand. what is this? I'm also one that believes that you need to prepare for where it is you want to go. It is amazing to me that I get so many comments and questions and texts about how do I, and I come from a time where you prepare, read everything you can read, research. This is way before, internet. Pick up the magazines, read, ask questions, get a mentor. Um, so I took the Hollywood 101 class, learned about how filmmaking works, asked people in the film space, um, what do I need to do? They told me the books to read. And lo and behold, after I finished my process, which was maybe 6, 8 months of just deep dive studying into the film business, my spiritual dad, Bishop Neil Ellis, called and said, "Hey, do you know this guy named Tyler Perry?" He's from the Bahamas, right? Bishop Ellis. And I was like, "Of course, everybody knows Tyler Perry." And he's like, "Well, he's doing a movie, and I told him that I know you do marketing for record companies. Can you do marketing for a movie?" What in the whole entire world? And I'm also one to say yes and then go do the research later. That's what I
Right.
would do. But I had already done the research, right? And I already created a great circle of influence around me with pastors and leaders from working in the music space. And that opened up the door. And so, with that, the movie was successful. Calls started coming inward. And then we had to walk away from our, kind of 9 to 5s at the record companies and trust God and walk on faith and open D3 Entertainment Group full time so that our integrity would stay intact, right? It's so hard to do 3 or 4 things when you're working with the same people in the space. So, but that was the transition. It was God prompting me to do some research and study. I didn't know why. Then the call is coming, and then we're walking in it, and then it turns in that's how God usually moves in my life. It's a small whisper. I can ignore it, or I can start. He did that with real estate. Start studying real estate, and then it became a passion for me. And then he taught me how to buy real estate. Who knew? So, but yes, that's how it started for me. I'm sorry. Faye, listen, my interview, you're probably going to be like, I asked you one question, you
No,
answered
I love
13
it.
questions.
No, this is great. We want all the details here at Faye's Place, okay? All of them. No, I think that's wonderful. I know my pastor always says, God is not going to ask you for wheat if he gave you corn. He's going to give you what you need and ask for what he has given you. So I love that. So I want to delve into your creative process. What are the factors you take into account when you're deciding to work with a film?
I very carefully consider everything that we work on. We're in a place now where we say no to a lot, probably more than we say yes. First of all, my freedom and my time is so important to me. I love to live the type of lifestyle that I desire to live versus one that I'm on someone else's schedule. So I love freedom of time. Um, for me, typically it starts with the script. So we receive a script or we receive an idea, and we pray about it and determine, is this something that resonates? Sometimes it resonates even before prayer. It's like, I know I read a book, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago called The Shack. And I read the book as I was reading it. I'm like, God, when this movie comes, I will work on this movie. I'm a prophetic declaration person. When I speak it, that's just what it is. So I'll work on this movie. And so that was something that I didn't need to pray about. As I was reading the book, I knew that the world needed to, because it just opened up who God was for me as I read the book. Um, so I knew that if it did that for me, and if it made something leap inside of me, it would potentially do that for another person. Um, so I needed to work on it. And of course, when it came out, of course, we worked on the movie. That's neither here nor there. But so we'll pray about it. oftentimes there have been time in the beginning of my career where uh, money talked first. And so it was, oh my gosh, they want to pay us, da, 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 da. Even though I felt the tugging, don't do it. It's gonna be a headache. Ooh, but the check, right? And the movie side of money is so much different than music. And so you start to justify. Well, with the money I could do this, da, 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 da. But God's saying no, and maybe that's not God. Maybe that. No. So I would say yes. And listen, a couple weeks in, I'm scratching my head. I'm frustrated. I'm take this money back because it's taking up all my time, all the freedom that I said that I desired. I don't have that
Right.
anymore. The peace that surpasses all understanding. I don't have that because I'm sitting in a spot where I'm not supposed to be sitting. And so I've learned now, right? So when resources are offered first, no, I don't care what the bottom line is. I am praying about it. And
Hmm.
so often I'll just push it aside and say, yeah, that's not for me in this season. Prayer definitely is the first step for me and for the company to decide if it is something that we want to partner with, because we're giving our soul to something. We're tying ourselves to it. So it's not just flippant, just, oh yes, it's a check. Absolutely not. Used to be, not for many, many years is it that. So
I love that. Now, is there also a certain type of story that you like to go for?
definitely empowering, not necessarily just faith. I love stories that empower African Americans.
Yes.
So, we worked on King Richard with Will Smith. Um, had nothing to
Hmm.
do with faith. You saw elements of faith because I think all African Americans have, our grandmothers, our aunties,
That's
somebody that is
right.
praying for someone.
That's right.
Um, Just Mercy with Jamie Foxx. That was, civil rights and things that our people need to know that have been hidden from us. With Tyler Perry, it's the comedy element because a lot of us are sitting in depressed states. And so, um, if it makes us laugh and brings us to a light space, I'm all for it. As long as it's not raunchy. I don't typically lean into horror. I've done a couple of Christian horror films that are pushing the narrative of heaven and hell, and I see place for that. Um, and then faith messages, if they are not produced in a cheesy way, right? We typically lean to the highest production quality because I want people that come into the space to see a movie to be shifted and changed. We did The Color Purple with Oprah, simply because, well, first of all, it's Oprah, but that's not the only reason. The Color Purple and the messaging of sisterhood and
Yes. Beautiful movie.
forgiveness and reconciliation was top tier. So no, there's not a genre for sure. We work on all types of films, but there has to be something that inspires or shifts the way that a person would be, and that could be a laugh. That could be, bringing a marriage together. That could be like the comedy of Relationship Goals or Ruth and Boaz. It brings relationships together. Although those were both very faith forward, but yeah. So no particular genre.
And also a movie that I just saw that you helped with was also Sarah's Oil. And that
On
also had elements of faith, but beautiful story.
and Black
Yeah,
history.
and Black history. And I knew about her, but I know a lot of people did not know. So it's wonderful.
So many people don't know the richness of Black history. So for me, that was another one. As soon as I learned about who Sarah Rector was, this was probably 5 or 6 years ago. The client was casting, looking for Sarah. So that's how I got involved, helping to find who Sarah would be for the film. And just knowing the story I was already in, that wasn't anything that I needed to. Here's the thing, when you pray and God puts you in a space, He's already trusted you in that space. So, um, God trusts me in this space because I participate in his plan. Um, the world needs to know that African American girls at 9 years old back in 1912, she had become a millionaire. Well, that just
Mhm.
empowers little girls around me and my nieces.
Right.
So I knew that was a story that needed to be in the forefront and that I would hopefully get a chance to market now that it's come to the world. Yes, we were the marketing agency with the film. Um, but yes, Sarah's amazing. And it's relaunching. Shameless plug. The Wonder Project is a new streaming platform. It's the platform that was behind the production.
Mhm.
And so it's out now. It started streaming 2 weeks ago, February the 8th, on Wonder Project. So if this and it's there. So it's like Netflix or Hulu or Amazon. Wonder Project is the place where courageous stories are told. And the first launch started with Sarah's Oil. So y'all listen, download the Wonder app and watch Sarah's Oil.
Yes, yes, yes. Now we did mention you did mention this earlier, but as I follow your career, you maintain this positive thinking approach, and it has inspired me so much. You
Oh,
always say that if you could think of the worst case scenario, you can entertain the best case scenario. And I'm in the entertainment industry, and I know this mindset is much needed in the work that we do. You kind of hit on it earlier, but have you always been this positive, or did you have to learn this mentality?
I think when you exercise a muscle, it becomes stronger. And for me, again, sitting in the back seat of a car at 5 years old, homeless, talking about something that was bright and positive, that's where my exercise started. Now it is so easy for me to transition to the best feeling thought. It's not, I don't have to lay in something for 3, 8, 10 days, 2 months to feel that. When I start to feel that something is not good for me, um, I know how to process the right way. I acknowledge what it is, which let me just say to the audience, acknowledge what it is. So this is not about discounting or ignoring the things that are happening to you in your space, whether it's grief, frustration, anger, disappointment. Acknowledge what it is. See it for what it is and almost have a discussion with yourself. I'll just use this as an example. You date a guy, you break up with him, you're heartbroken. You can lay in that story and tell it over and over and over and over again, which is what we love to do. We love the pity party. Or I, I don't know what that is. Or recognize what it is. God, you gave me this time and this space with this individual. I learned some things. I was frustrated by some things. But in that space, I'm stronger, I'm better, I'm wiser.
Mhm.
I'm more prepared for what you truly have for me in my next moment. God, make me the person that I need to be for the right relationship for me. Thank you for removing this from my life because this was not for my life. So now all of a sudden, I've shifted. He's this and he's that. And can you believe he said, and oh my God, he's this. And then you have your friends co-signing, ooh, girl. Ooh,
Right.
and then you got to tell it again the next day. And the next day you forgot something. Ooh, and let me add this nugget. Instead of saying, you know what? It didn't work. My heart is not feeling great about it. Here's
Mhm.
something that I learned. When you see a red flag or when you feel something, you should move quicker. So here's what I've learned for the next relationship. Now I know how to move a little quicker. I'm grateful for that. You know what? I I wrote a book about it, or I did a podcast about it. And I'm hoping to help the next girl who's going through it. So it's up to you to make the choice on what narrative you want to lean into as you're walking through a situation. For me, it started when I was 5. So now, of course, I practice this every single day. It's not just I wear this bracelet. What's the best that can happen? Because when I wake up in the morning, that's my outlook. What's the best
Love
that can
it.
happen?
Mhm.
Okay, somebody passed away. Listen, grief is a part of death is a part of life. Do I want people to transition out of my life? Absolutely not. But when it happens, because I know that I have intentionally poured love and support into it, I feel the pain, but it's not, I don't even know how to describe it. It's not unto um like where I'm going to die because the grief is so heavy. I don't want anyone to transition from my life. But it's also, if I have to ask the same question, what's the best that can happen? Oh my gosh, I learned how to love in a new way with this person in my life. There are so many smiling moments. There are so many lessons that I learned. So you can grief and um, joy can coexist. I think that is how the tightrope that we walk in life. But most people want it to be either or, right? It's like, I just must, I just must grieve. Do you know that there's some joy that can be found in the midst of that? It's too broad, I think, to talk about in an interview, but I would encourage the listeners who want to debate that is to Google how similar and how aligned grief and joy are with emotions, and that you can find both in each. It's like you get to the top of the world and all the money in the world, and guess what? You're lonely because no one else has what you have to enjoy at that level, right? You get to the bottom of the world, guess what? Oh my gosh, I'm so lonely. I wish that, or I'm excited because I see my other people who have risen to do great things. I'm drifting, but grief, joy, tightrope, tight line, and I've always been the one to see both and to lean into the best case scenario because I choose to feel how I want to feel in my moments. I would encourage the listeners to consider that. Like you said, if you can dwell on the worst case scenario, why not make an option to think about the best case scenario? You do realize that you have a choice in all of your moments to do that. Maybe we haven't been given permission to feel okay, to make the choice in this moment, no matter what's going on around you, to pick a better feeling thought.
That's
Um,
good.
yes.
That is so good. I love it. I love it. I love it. Do you have an idea for a business, but bringing it to fruition seems so overwhelming? Look no further. Embolden Consulting is a strategy and creative consulting agency that turns bold ideas into thriving ventures. When rebranding my podcast Phase Place, I needed direction and someone who gets it. Who gets me? I tried Embolden Consulting and was not disappointed. The results I received showed that there was close attention to detail and gave me insight of what I needed to make my business work. You have the vision. Let Embolden Consulting help you execute the dream. Their services include strategic messaging and branding development, operational strategy, project management, and marketing campaign design. Email Jodi Iyamu at emboldenconsulting.com. That's JODIIYAMU at emboldenconsulting.com to set up your consultation today. Use the code FAZEPLACE to receive a free consultation. Hi friends, it's Phaedra, and you are listening to Phase Place. Join us each week as we talk to industry insiders about their journey and what it takes to turn dreams into a reality. Whether you aspire to be in the entertainment field or just inspired by the hustle, count this as your backstage pass. Join us every Monday for a brand new episode. And also follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at Phase Place. Now that you're in this field, what is the most surprising fact that you did not initially account for when you thought about having a career in marketing?
Oh gosh. Well, let's see. Ask that question again now that I'm here.
Yes, now that you're in marketing, what was something that really surprised you that you did not initially take into account when you first thought about having this great career in marketing?
Wow. I think that I didn't know that this career would give me such freedom of life. Um, I didn't know that all of my mentors from afar that I would eventually get a chance to connect with were so incredibly kind. So one of the things that I've been enlightened by is that people who have achieved in areas of their life have this beautiful ease and kindness of spirit. And
Mm,
it's taught me so much. Like I've learned that as busy as you are, that when you've achieved, um, there is a way to make everyone feel seen. And I've learned that from being close to people that I esteemed to be so, I don't know, so lofty. But just one example, Oprah, anytime we get into a space, she's one that will always grab your hand and hold it for the entire conversation. I love touch.
yes.
So I tend to do that now with new people that I'm meeting because what it does is it pulls their guard down. I don't know like, I'm just Michelle who was sleeping in the back seat of a car, but people have this, oh my gosh, it's Michelle Duffie. What does that even mean? That sounds so odd to me when people say that. Like that, what is it that you're saying? So because I'm aware that, okay, maybe people have this, whatever it is they've built up in their mind, the same thing I have built up in my mind with Oprah. She disarms you because she'll just hold your hand the whole time that she's talking to you, and she'll just keep repeating your name. And I'm like, it's the same blood that's running through her that's running through me. So, but you learn this ease and this beauty of connection. I didn't know that that's what meeting so many people would do for me. This kindness. Tyler displays the same kindness. Devon Franklin, the same kindness. Cece Winans, the same kindness. Evander Holyfield, the same kindness. I'm only saying these names because they're names that your public will know. I'm not saying the names to say that people that you don't know their name doesn't have that same level of kindness, empathy, and ease when you get in their space. But I'm saying it that you know that all people are people. And these people, the names that I've said, are people that intentionally make they pull you into their space with this beautiful warmth. Bishop Jakes, Jamal Bryant. These are people that we look at them; they're larger than life. But when you get in a space with them, oh my gosh, that you're just they're Jamie Foxx. They just become cousins and friends
I
so
love it.
quickly.
Yes.
And everybody has a story of I heard. Listen, I've been in a space.
Hmm.
So whatever you heard, forget what you heard. But it's just a sweet spot. Listen, Fred Hammond, listen, just the most Hezekiah Walker, the most amazing, friendly Priscilla Shire. Oh my God, just lovely people. They love the Lord and they love people. And I'm that. I love people. I love touching people. Love to just feel where they are and help them get to a better space if I can.
Yes, that's great. That's great. What advice do you have for people aspiring to do what you do and working in marketing?
Study to show yourself approved. Um, there are things that you can do on your own to prepare you for an opportunity. Researching, knowing trends, being savvy with what your gifting is, and not waiting for someone to, being proactive, being dedicated to the space, being consistent in your space, networking, having a mentor that's been where it is that you're desiring to go is great. Listening to mentors when they are putting information in front of you. We always say, as in the mentor circle, um, if we are taking the time to pour out to you, use our example as your example. There's no need to fall into the hole when I tell you if you walk 10 steps to the left, you're going to fall in a hole. Why do you need to fall over there? And why do you need to walk that direction and fall in? Find a mentor.
Exactly.
Find a mentor that you trust. I think that's the thing, because if you don't trust the mentor, you are going to take the 10 steps, fall in the hole, and then come back and say, well, you told me. Anyway, um, yeah, find a mentor and study. Like, there are so many resources to learn about film, TV, marketing, knowing different demographics, and you come as a resource to us because we don't know it all. Trends are changing. How we track data is changing. How we impact the 43 million African Americans with $2 trillion worth of spending, that changes. And so when you come to me to say, hey, I have a system that will lean specifically into Gen Z girls that live on the East Coast. Well, see, I don't know that information, but because you've taken the time to show me how you can target a specific demographic, now I am attracted to you, your knowledge, your intellect. But if you come to me saying, how do you do it? You can Google me and kind of research
Right.
my footprint.
Exactly.
So we love people that are, or we are attracted to and a studious mind, um, uh, someone who is always seeking knowledge, but also knowledgeable. Um, and that's what we did. I remember, oh my gosh, quick story, being probably 25 or 26, and I wrote down a list of every single person that I wanted to meet, um, because there was something about their career or their life that I aspired to. And then I chopped that list down and I started learning every single thing I could about that person, where they came from, where they started from, what books they read, because they post all this stuff online, what books they read, all of that. And now when I'm in the space with them, my conversation can look like I have researched. I'm not saying, so how many kids do you have? I promise you I know how many kids you have and what their names
Right.
are. So where did you
Mm-hmm.
go to school? How was it? I already know that. Um, I read your philosophy about. That's what my conversation sounds like. I read your
Yes.
philosophy about, and I really enjoy that you like XYZ. Now they feel like, oh, this is a studied person. Okay, she's done the work. So that is what it takes to get in this space. Because when you're networking, trust me, 100 people have walked up to me already asking the same question. What makes you stand out in the space? But networking is key. So get out, save your money so that if there's a film conference, a film festival, a seminar, that you can travel to the space and be in the space. What I take note of is when I'm all over the country and I've seen a face 2 or 3 times over the year, oh, that person is serious.
Mm-hmm.
They're investing in themselves. That off the top says to me they're going places, and I would want to talk to that young lady or that young man because I see that they're serious. So that's going to get you in the door for sure. Let me see your face a few times. Oh, okay, they're serious. Yes, I like it.
I love it. Now, what are you currently dreaming up?
Listen, I can't even tell you because my dreams are so big. Listen, I dream so big. God has me in this phase of my life where He continually tells me to think higher. I know that you think that is this, but I challenge you to think higher. And with that, I mean, again, 5 years old, homeless, telling stories about a castle on the lake. Well, how big is that to someone 5 years old? So now imagine me at 58. What in the world would my dreams be when I am living in a castle on the lake? Are you kidding me? So, right now, we are developing salon suites all over the world. I used to say all over the US. God was like, hey, all over the world, salon suites. I don't know what y'all do. You whatever this. She
Yeah, clock
listen.
it, clock it.
Okay, all that all over the world. I just finished writing a book, and it's in editing, and I'm so excited to birth it. It was a rebirth of myself because I didn't realize that I needed to birth it to feel free from the weight that I was carrying. There was a baby inside of me, and now that I've birthed it, I'm excited about that. Yeah, real estate is big, but my dreams are I'm developing a school in Africa. That nothing is impossible, right? And I truly believe that. That is probably the scary part for some people when they look at me because I don't believe anything is impossible. I believe everything's possible.
Yes.
I believe if God gives me an idea and I partner with Him in that idea, that He'll bring the resources, He'll bring the partnerships, He'll bring the way to do it. Um, and I'm not afraid. So and if I was afraid, I would do it afraid anyway. So my dreams are big. Big dreams come when you're not scared to dream big.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Man, there's such a beautiful big life. And when I say big, it's relative. So I'm not saying, rich and billions and millions, although I am to some people who can hear that. Most people can't hear it. But big is bigger than your space, bigger than your comfort zone, bigger than your comfort. If you can learn how to think outside of what's comfortable to you, then opportunities come to you to walk outside of your comfort zone. But if your whole thought is about being comfortable, everything that comes to you is going to fit right in that little circle of comfort.
Mm, mm-hmm.
And that's that. And so I'll tell you what, I'm not dreaming comfortably. How about that? That's
I
my
love
dream.
it. Let's put that on a t-shirt, okay? We need to put that on a
Listen,
bracelet. Well, are there any projects that you want us to be on the lookout for, and tell our listeners where they could keep up with you, your social media or things of that
yes.
nature?
So you can follow me at Michelle Duffie, Michelle Duffie. That's D is in dynamic. I always say that Uffie, Michelle Duffie. And so, yes, follow me at YouTube. Follow me at Instagram, follow me at Facebook, follow me at TikTok. Definitely YouTube because that's where monetization comes. So follow me at YouTube. Every month, every February, I do 28 days of Black History facts, or 28 or 29. And so um, I love February for that because I learned so much about history. But yes, follow me. What's coming up? We are working on the next Tyler Perry, Devon Franklin movie. Comes out in November. Gosh, we have a couple of projects that. Oh God, I am associate producer on the next Sony movie that comes out. I can't say the title yet, but it comes out in February or March of 2027. So we'll start marketing that. But we shot it last year, and
Wonderful.
yay! And we have a lot of things we have a lot of things that we're working on that are not film projects, right? They are passion projects, things that we've wanted to do that are now funded that we get to touch and push forward. So but movies are coming, and following me, you'll be the first to know either at Instagram or YouTube or something like that. Our first salon suite is opening quickly, and then we're working on the next one already. So super exciting. God,
I'm
thank you for this life. Who could have even dreamed up that this would be the space I'm sitting in?
You did. God did. You did.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you for stopping by Faye's Place. You are welcome back anytime. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode and what we're doing here on Faye's Place, be sure to give us a great rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Tune in next week for another episode with you in mind. I love you all for listening. This podcast episode was recorded with Riverside.